Hello traders, I'm Miroslav Popov, the author Forex Strategy Builder Professional. In that video, I'll show you how opening closing conditions work. Let's open a new strategy. We see here that the strategy consists of two slots by default, a new strategy. We have opening point, bar opening, and closing point, bar closing. That means the strategy must send buy and sell signals at bar opening, but it doesn't trade because there is no condition to determine the trading direction, and because it is not clear whether to open long position or short position, the strategy reports ambiguous bars. If you see here, we have all bars ambiguous. How to solve that problem? We can add opening logic condition. We are using that button here. When you click the button, a new slots appear here. This is an opening logic condition slot. The name of the slot is here. And we can select an indicator. Let's select momentum. Each indicator that can be put in opening logic condition has an application rule. And that rules can be evaluated to true or false. For example, what we have here, momentum rises. So momentum can rises or can falls. Let's confirm that. And how we read the strategy now? Enter the market at the beginning of the bar when momentum rises. However, we know that we set always the rules for long positions. And the program makes the rules for short position automatically but mirrored. And because bar opening determines only one entry price at the beginning of the bar, actually the rule for long position will be enter long at bar opening when momentum rises. And the opposite rule will be enter short at bar opening when momentum falls. We can see that on the chart. Every time when momentum rises, we open long position, and when momentum falls down, we open short position. These indicators in the opening logic conditions, they do not determine the entry price. The entry price, the price of opening a position, is determined always in the opening point of the position slot, in the first slot. That second slot, and you can set more slots, these are only filters. They allow the strategy to open position at that indicator. For example, we can set another indicator here to not be bar opening. Let's be Bollinger Bands. Now Bollinger Bands, it has two bars, upper band and lower band, and we set at what band to open long position, at the upper or at the lower. Let's be at the upper band. In that case, the strategy can determine the trading direction, because when the market touches the upper band, for example, if the market touches here, the upper band of the indicator, the strategy will open long position, because there is no additional conditions, there is no additional filters. And when the market touches the lower band, the strategy will send sell signals and will open short positions. But we can add additional filters. If there is no filters, every time when the condition is when the market touches the entry price, the strategy opens a position. But when we put here opening logic conditions or filters, let's set several. Okay, like that. We have now three opening logic conditions. So in order to enter in a position, the market must touch the entry price, and these all conditions must be satisfied. So for that example, we will enter long position at the upper band of Bollinger Bands when AC rises and when Tenkan-sen rises and MACD line rises. So these three indicators, these three conditions must be satisfied. If there is one condition that is not satisfied, it is enough to cancel the entry. How we can distinguish these slots, opening closing conditions? This slots has a closing button here because they are not mandatory. They are above the button at an opening logic conditions and below the opening point of the position, below the entry slot. So actually these three slots here are for opening logic conditions. Also these slots are painted in greenish color because we set here the logic for long positions only. This also is somewhat like green to tell us that we're opening long. If you are not sure how exactly these conditions work, you can always go to the strategy overview here, overview, and the program generates some explanation for the strategy rules. Let's see what we have here. Open a new long position at upper band of Bollinger Bands when all of the following logic conditions are satisfied. Accelerator oscillator rises and Tenkan-sen rises and MACD rises. And for short position, what we have, open a new short position and lower band of Bollinger Bands when accelerator oscillator falls and Tenkan-sen false and MACD line false. This is the general case, but there are indicators that are satisfied in both directions. Let's I'll set here bar opening, or let's set moving average. Okay, so when we have moving average, the moving average has one entry price. But we do not open the position because when the market touches the entry price, the strategy knows that it must trade, but in what direction it is not specified. Do you see that marks here, the red marks? That means this bar is marked as ambiguous because the trading is not determined. So let's add here a condition. Let's be ADX. We have ADX rises. But what is the interesting? The strategy is not trading. We have here a rule, but the strategy is not trading. If we, for example, if we set here accelerator oscillator, AC rises is trading, but for ADX doesn't trade. What is that? Why? Because this ADX indicator has the same signals for long and for short position, and that indicator cannot determine the direction. It only allows trading. It allows trading in both for long and for short positions. This indicator determines a trend. If there is a trend, if ADX arises, we have a trend, but this indicator doesn't tell us what is the direction of the trend, up or down. So let's go to the strategy overview for the moment. Let's see what we have here. Open a new long position and moving average when ADX rises. Open a new short position and moving average when ADX rises also. That's why we have ambiguous bars. We can fix that by adding additional rule, accelerator oscillator for example. And now ADX will be filtered in both directions, but accelerator oscillator will give the actual permission for entry. So we'll trade long when market touches the moving average and ADX rises and AC rises, and we trade short when market touches the moving average, but in that time ADX must rises, because ADX is exception here, and the opposite condition is actually the same, the condition for the short, and AC falls. You can see that here in the overview. Open long position at moving average when ADX rises and accelerator oscillator rises. Open short position at moving average when ADX rises and accelerator oscillator falls. But this is not big problem, these exceptions, because the programs care about that automatically. It is everything in the design of the indicator. The indicators in Forex Strategy Builder, they are not only numbers, but they has these logical rules, and the designer of the indicator has implemented these rules in the code. So the long rules and the short rules are predetermined inside in the indicator code, so you don't must care about that. You only select an indicator, and if you are not sure how exactly that indicator works, you can always go to the overview and to see. And the most important topics are that we set the rules for long position, for long entries, and the program makes the opposite rules automatically, the mirrored rules. Also, when we don't have opening logic conditions, the strategy trades every time when it touches the opening price. When we have, for example, one condition, this condition must be satisfied in order to allow trading. But when we have more than one condition, like that, all conditions must be satisfied in order to allow trading. That is all for that video. I'll make additional videos for closing point of the positions and closing logic conditions. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.